Peppermint, which is a fantastic little distro, and ideal for the netbook. Forget your Jolie Cloud, everything like that. I've found Peppermint's been exactly what I've needed. And a very good
Crunchbang is
Crunchbang,
gorgeous
yes,
on a netbook.
Yeah, I think it's better the devil you know with this little netbook of mine, but I certainly Peppermint isn't lacking, and I do like its hybrid cloud system that it runs, and a lot of the applications on it are cloud-based or half and half, which is very suitable for my usage of the netbook. I mean, we can debate about whether you should have whether we should be relying on the cloud, but for me on this little netbook, it's a precious little point having an IRC client that's based locally if I haven't got net access to get online and use it. So for me, things like a little IRC client that's web-based is ideal. So a really good little distro, and I recommend anybody with a netbook to check it out, or any machine, regardless of your specs, because it's a punchy, very fast distro based on a tried and tested Linux Mint, which itself is based on Ubuntu. So you can't go wrong with Peppermint.
Actually, I believe Peppermint was based off Lubuntu, not off Mint. Even though it's a Mint developers, I'm sure it's based off Lubuntu rather than Mint.
Uh-huh.
I won't challenge that.
No.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. I could be wrong, or certainly it was. I don't know if they've changed it. But yeah, it's a common misconception. It's got Mint. It's one of the Mint sort of family. It's the same Mint developers, but some of the same Mint developers, like Kendall and a few others. But yeah, I believe it's based off Ubuntu.
I think
Just a technical point.
Well, there you've heard it here first. So and I'm just looking up on the. There's been a couple of questions in regards to that in different forums. I'm just briefly skimming, but thank you very much, Gordon, correcting us as we go. So
not that it changes anything. I mean, still, you make of it what you will. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. It doesn't make any difference what it's based on. But sorry, carry on.
Right, Roy, have you got anything that you want to put on?
Well, we haven't discussed any of the issues I brought up in the beginning of the show. But I think I kind of covered the main situation, sort of talking about the fact that that the patent cartel that exploits the situation with codecs is kind of being challenged by the government now, by federal agents. And the same goes for the deal with Novell. No, the thing with Novell is you have to remember they don't actually challenge the sale of Novell to a very dubious company under a very dubious situation where the company which forced Novell to put itself for sale, that's a hedge fund, it's not exactly a company, was talking to the actual buyer of Novell, was communicating with this company before the whole situation began. So it seems like even way back in 2009, they were already planning some kind of a situation whereby Novell gets sold, and of course the patents are supposed to go like almost 1,000 of them to a consortium organized by Microsoft. It basically means Microsoft and friends. And this is the thing which had the FSF and the OSI complain first to a German anti-cartel office and then to the Department of Justice in the United States. And the United States Department of Justice then actually responds, apparently, allegedly, based on the New York Post. I think that's the only report that's the seminal report that we have. They say it will be blocked by the Department of Justice, in which case Novell will have to rethink its options and perhaps won't be sold. And that's good news if you think about the fact that the plan was to try and take patents away from Novell, in the same way I suspect as Microsoft wants Nokia's patents to use against Android. That's what I think the plan is. And in fact, the CEO, I'm not sure I should call him, I usually call them micromoles now, the CEO of Nokia, the person who came from Microsoft to basically kind of sell the company to Microsoft, he was talking explicitly about the situation with respect to patents. So apparently patents themselves, in the case of Nokia, will be treated in a similar way to the way they got treated in Novell. And it's kind of disturbing because they try to change the field of competition. They try to change the rules of the games to be a game of patents instead of actual who makes the best operating system and who offers the best prices. It's just like we talked earlier in the show. It's just a game of embargoes and threats and extortions and, you know, how much do you have in your till and can you afford to go to court in 5 to 2 years when, you know, this agency is basically saying, well, you cannot sell any of these imports because we basically block them. And it's for just an exploitation of laws now. It's just lobbying. It's to do with extortion. It's to do with nepotism in the industry. You know, who's a friend of who came from which company, and which company is friends with which other company. It's completely tilted against the customer. The customer doesn't matter in here. The customer is not the person who buys the product. It's to do with shareholders. It's to do with people in power, people who promote patents and just want to increase their level of power. And that's just a very saddening situation.
Yeah, I think with the MPEG-LA thing, the thing that struck me is they've been getting away with this for a long, long time with all these patent rackets and all that. But the one thing that triggered it was they seem to have been just a bit too greedy, and putting the call out to say, look, it's basically, we want to sue Google into the ground. We want money from Google. We want to shake down Google. So anyone who has patents on something that Google are doing, get in touch, join us, and we'll sue Google. And it's basically a very, very obvious shakedown. That they've been able to get away with it because they've been a little bit more subtle. And the people who have been complaining have not had enough power or enough influence to get anything looked into. But I think they've just been a bit too greedy in making it too obvious that it's a shakedown and that it's nothing to do with protecting their investment, nothing to do with anything like that. It's just a shakedown. Google have money, we want it.
Protect investments. That's exactly what they do. They protect the investments. But the way they do that is they spot a competition and they try to eliminate the competition. That's what makes it a kind of a cartel or an extortion. And usually people just accept it as though, you know, this is a company, they're very nice, they create codecs for us. And I've known people, actually met one person who was contributing like a patent to this consortium and trying to kind of say, oh, I innovated this part of the codec and try to make it, you know, save a bit of space or something. But the situation, it's like I said before, it's against the consumers. That they're not interested in having their family videos encoded in a format which forces them to basically pay someone when a company like Google is willing to offer something for free. And the reason they offer it for free, of course, can be kind of selfish because they want to kind of control their own, you know, video empire, mostly, you know, most notably YouTube. You know, if you're willing to say, well, all video is going to have some kind of a tax to pay before you can view it, just to pay for a codec. You know, you can choose whether you want to live in a world where even formats like JPEG. Can you imagine having to pay let's say you live in Africa, and every time you want to just view an image, and the normal way to store images, and usually natural images, things like nature, that you can compress using wavelengths, you need to have some MPEG, you need to have a JPEG decompressor, some kind of some way to get the signal out of the thing. It's a very trivial thing. You can use all sorts of functions to do that, to parameterize the space of the pixel.
This is the problem. I mean, I hear people saying, well, look, where does it harm the end user? And the thing is, with every one of these patents, people get paid, which means that if you buy a computer that costs, say, for example, £400, then what you're going to have is a lot of different people getting a different cut of that. So the price just goes up and up and up. And that same machine that's worth 400, you might be lucky to buy it for 600 because you've got all these different people that are demanding a cut from different patents that they own on it. You know, and it's not just computers, that's everything, every device that hooks into a computer, which is a lot of stuff these days. MP3 players, cameras, you name it. There's patents on the hardware, patents on the software, all sorts of things that have to be paid for, and they're paid for by the vendors. If you buy an MP3 player made by, say, Philips, Philips have already paid for the license to use MP3 playback and MP4 playback and all this kind of stuff.
They're actually the ones sending out the bill. You make it sound like Philips is the victim here. Actually, the truth
no,
is, Philips is the one sending the bullies to fairs, and
yeah,
it's called Ciceville.
Yeah, I picked them as an example. So I mean, they've already paid for whoever the vendor is. They've already paid